Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriter's Tales, but something looks off. What's going on, Craig?
What's off is I'm not sitting next to you, Mark. I am on the road, my man. And I just had
Yeah,
to
you
be
are.
here. I had to be here to introduce this guest, this special guest we have today. I got a riddle for you, though, Mark. Here it is.
O-
When is
Okay.
Craig Campbell not Craig Campbell, but at the same time, Craig Campbell? Hmm.
Ooh, I give up. When?
I, I got the answer. When Craig Campbell is Craig Campbell, the publicist and the manager, the same person that manages and publicists for Craig Campbell, the country superstar singer Craig Campbell. I know it's completely confusing. Nobody's more confused than me, especially when I'm talking to the other two Craigs, and I don't even know who I'm talking to half the time. But Craig Campbell is a wonderful man. He knows everybody, been in Nashville forever, and you and I both know these next couple of episodes are going to be super dynamic.
No question. No question. He is a super guy
Yeah.
and is full of wisdom and great, great, great listen. So let's do it. Hey, it's Mark, and we are back with another Craig. So now you have two Craigs on screen.
Getting
And
better. It's getting
it
better.
is getting better and better. It's Craig squared. So, Craig Gleason, why don't you give us a little bit of rundown on our friend here and give him his just due, and then we'll get into this.
I would be more than happy to. So this is Craig Campbell. Hello, Craig.
Hello, the
All
original
the way-
Craig Campbell.
The original. And some of you from our podcast and from just listening to music know Craig Campbell. Not this Craig Campbell, but the other Craig Campbell, the singer, songwriter, and guitar player. And I got to know this Craig Campbell through that Craig Campbell. Now, if you're totally confused, raise your hands. Thank you. And so here's where Craig fits in. Craig is in a management company, and it's the Campbell Entertainment Group. Is that the full name? The property?
Yeah, management
And-
publicity.
Exactly. And so today on our podcast, as you know, with Songwriters Tales, we don't just talk about songwriters and how they write songs. We do that, but today is another part of the industry, and that is the backstage of the industry, the back room, the people that are back there throwing the coal into the furnace to make that ship run.
Pulling the strings. and
Right.
making
That's
stuff-
exactly
making
right.
Stuff happen.
That's exactly right. So
Mhm.
we're glad you're here, man. Thank you for
Thanks.
taking
Good
the
to
time.
be here. Good to be
We're-
here.
Yeah,
Ab-
it's so cool because we were talking before we started the show, but it really does take a village to get anybody anywhere these days. And this is exciting for me because I mean, I've had jobs in the public worlds, and and I'm a writer in the public side versus also as a songwriter, but I'm also a writer on the corporate side. So I have friends who are in PR and it's got to be such an exciting and frustrating and crazy world to try and create publicity for even the most talented of artists. It doesn't matter. It's like, because everything changes so fast nowadays, and the
Absolutely.
news cycle is in minutes now. And so I'm excited to kind of hear your take on where it was when you started, because you started on the label side.
Right. Actually, I started with an independent PR company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, go into that. Tell us,
Okay.
where it started and where it's going.
and your background, where you came from. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where I started, I played guitar in a band, string bass and orchestra in Cincinnati, and I didn't do either one very well. And all I cared about was music. I didn't want to go to college just to go to college. and I found out about Middle Tennessee State University's music business program. So I thought, well, if I can't be on stage, I want to help people who are on stage and somehow be involved in music. So I did that. I interned for a guy named Jeff Walker who had just started a company called Aristo Media.
I remember Aristo
Do
Media.
you?
I
Yeah.
do.
So I interned for Jeff, and then I ended up working for him for 9 years. We did publicity. We had a music video promotion company. So one of the biggest artists, and the one that I still love that we worked with, was Chris Ledoux.
Oh,
Mm.
We did publicity for Chris before he got his deal with Capitol, and then after that. But we also did music video promotion for pretty much every label in town. Um, Met Garth Brooks when he was literally had his first single. We worked with Billy Ray Cyrus when it
mm,
actually we did video promotion before Achy Breaky went out to radio. So we released
Okay.
that video before the single came out. So known him since before day one.
man.
Right.
So yeah, I worked there for 9 years, and then I was hired at Sony Music Nashville to do publicity for Epic Records. So I worked with Joe Diffie, Patty Loveless, Colin Ray,
Ugh,
um,
all my favorites.
the the at the time the Dixie Chicks
Yeah.
from the day they walked in the building, Miranda Lambert, Montgomery Gentry from day one, Gretchen Wilson when she first got signed, and I still work with Gretchen. So 22 years later, I still work with her.
That's cool.
But in May of '06, on my birthday, Sony and BMG merged, and they let go of about half of our staff and half of our roster. And thankfully, I got to stay, and I stayed another 18 months, and then decided to go out on my own. So I started. That was the end of '07. And beginning of '08, I got a call from Randy Owen, lead singer of Alabama. He had just done a solo album. So I jumped back in and did publicity for Randy, and I've been doing that ever since.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, every day's different.
Every day's
So,
different. Every
Woo.
every hour is different.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and I'll do a to-do sheet the night before, and then I wake up in the morning and tear it up.
Yeah. Gosh, man. So, for our listeners, you've got management and you've got publicity. So, why don't you let us know exactly what the differences are and what you do? What does that mean?
The First of all, on the publicity side, the cool thing, especially when I work at a label, you get to work with, it's like a wagon wheel. You get to work with A&R, promotion, um, marketing,
Hmm.
every part, every department in the record label you get to work with. Outside the label, you're working with booking agents, you're working with other managers, you're working with promoters. So you really get to see a lot of different aspects of the industry. So I really felt like I could help guide an artist's career when I left. And I've worked with several different artists. I worked with an artist named Angie Johnson who was in the military, and she got signed to Sony Music. I still work with a keyboard player named Corey Caudle, who plays keys now for Tyler Childers,
Hmm.
and I got Tyler a deal with a classical label. So that really stems from working in publicity and seeing all these different parts of the business, how they work.
So so in publicity, because my understanding is just, and this may be a super simplified concept of it, is that publicity means you're getting the act out there. You're sort of like you're a human social media
Yeah,
is what you are. Is
yeah.
that do I have
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, and when in the early days when we had more magazines and newspapers, there was a big focus on that, getting and a lot of that was focused on an album release. So what we would try to do is line up interviews and stories
Mm.
and reviews when an album came out to really to push that snowball to the top of the hill and have as much radio play and
Sure.
and ink and magazines and newspapers and I still do a lot with television. So I get artists booked on late night shows, morning shows. So you
Mhm.
really, at that time, we really tried to focus everything around that release. So when that snowball was pushed off the hill, it was already pretty big,
Uh,
and the
Go
momentum
ahead.
started.
So, when as I was coming up, when a comedian, for instance, was trying to get his career started, once he got on Johnny Carson,
But yeah,
that was like the top of the hill right there,
yeah,
man. You couldn't get it. I mean, everybody wanted to get on
right,
Carson,
right.
and he got a lot of people's careers started. So tell us today, Mark and I, because I don't know this, and I bet you don't either, Mark. What is the platform that if you go, I got to get this person. They've got it. Everything's lined up. I need to get them on this show. What would you? Is there a particular one?
Really, Craig, there's not one. There's not a Johnny Carson for comedians anymore. There's not. Um, there really isn't. There's not one TV show. There's not one.
Really?
No, there really isn't.
Why is that? Do
Well,
you
that's a
know?
good question. I
Yeah,
really don't know.
because social media may have something to do with that.
Yeah. And I think social media has a lot to do with it because younger people
Mhm.
aren't watching television as much. Younger people aren't listening to the radio as much. So you've got to figure out where these people are and what drives them, what motivates them, what inspires them to hear maybe a snippet of a song on social media and then inspire them to dig into that artist and find out who that is and what other music do they have out.
Well,
It's a big
that's
challenge.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
that makes
that's
sense.
a great segue into kind of we just heard what you did when you started, what you were doing. What is it now? I mean, talk about some of the things that you do now to promote your artists.
It's still that. There are still a handful of magazines. Most of the magazines are online. So people are checking those out. There's for on the countryside, there are sites like Taste of Country, which is a huge site. Country Rebel is a huge site. Country Now,
Mhm.
Rolling Stone Country, People Country.
Okay.
So we really try to get placements on all those sites. And then it's what we're doing right here. Podcasts have become a big
Yeah.
outlet for artists. And the thing I like about it is it's not just a snippet on social media. It's not just a little blurb on
Mhm.
TV. It's people. You guys are giving artists the opportunity to tell their stories and talk about music and talk about where songs came from, which I
Well,
love.
and I was gonna say, we love it too.
Yeah.
We've gotten to talk to Tennille Arts
Oh, I love her.
recently,
Thanks to
thanks to you, and we've
Craig
and
Campbell.
yeah, there she is.
There she is.
You know, I it
And
and
Jamie
Craig
O'Neill.
and Jamie O'Neill,
Yeah.
and Craig has actually found one that we ended up talking to, just found her on Facebook, but it is so cool to talk to people and Tennille is a perfect example I'm talking about. Talk about the whole package. I mean, not just great singer and great songwriter, but very savvy, very career savvy, and
Very
very
much.
it just, it's to me, it's inspiring and it's also encouraging because, as you just said, social media is so much the attention span of a gnat. And for us to get to talk to Tennille for 30 minutes about how she likes to write songs and where she gets inspiration from, and I mean, it's as much fun for us as it is. I don't even know if it's fun for them, but I think she had a good time because she actually
Yeah.
said to us, "This was so great getting to talk about songs and songwriting."
Yeah.
And, and it's not just, promotion or for promotion's sake. It's like, talk about it. Tell me, where you're where's it coming from for you? And
Yeah.
because we're songwriters, and every songwriter I've ever known in my life, it's always different. She taught me a lesson. She said, I got a great hook off of TikTok. I was on woe is me site with got girls who get broken up with or have a broken heart, and somebody made a comment and don't ruin flowers for me.
That's where she got it.
And
That's where she got it? I didn't
that's
even
where
know
she got
that.
the hook
You
from.
didn't watch her podcast, did you?
No, but that's what I'm talking about. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's right. Really cool.
Now I'm on TikTok all the time
Yeah.
looking for all these cool. No,
Mark,
but I
get
mean,
off TikTok.
seriously, it's just, it's not just, oh, it's about my boyfriend who broke my, it's like, it's the inside baseball version of
Yeah.
it. But I don't know. I just love it. And I love talking to people like you too, because I know your job is hard, with attention spans and trying to get eyeballs on anybody for more than 5 seconds
Yeah.
I know how tough it is, but you work with some really talented people. I was so happy to see that, that Gretchen is popping up again,
Yeah.
cause,
Yeah.
I mean, she's never gone anywhere, but I mean, she's always been here, but I'm so glad to see her face on,
Yeah.
in the media again,
Yeah.
because man, when she came out, I thought, God, finally somebody who's just different
Yeah. And real.
and
She's
and
everything that you
real.
see is who she is.
Yeah.
She has
Yeah.
no idea how to put on airs or lie.
Well, and I saw John Rich on a show, and he was talking about her and how she was the
Yeah.
singer, she was the bartender.
Yeah.
And she would
Yep.
just go down there and sit in with the band sometimes, and every time she did, she blew everybody away
Yeah.
with how good she was.
Yeah.
And then she'd go back and start making drinks again.
And she had been rejected by every label, including Sony, at least once. And then we had, I don't know, did you guys ever know John Grady?
Mm-mm.
I didn't either.
Mm-mm.
He took over Sony in 03. He signed Miranda, Gretchen.
Oh,
He was amazing because he signed Commerce, like Gretchen and Miranda, relaunched Montgomery Gentry. They
mhm.
had kind of hit a peak, and they were after the My Town single.
Mhm. Mhm.
And Grady comes into a meeting and he said, there's a song on this album. He said, I don't know if it's a #1 single, but I think it'll sell records. It's called Hell Yeah. And we're all like, hell yeah. But he also signed Jesse Alexander and John Randall and
Wow.
Rodney Crowell and
Man.
Rodney
yeah,
Crowell,
just
my
art,
gosh.
great art. So it was a
Yeah.
very, I don't know how I got off on that, but it was very
It doesn't matter.
refreshing.
This is what we love.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, last year was Gretchen. It was probably the biggest year she's had since she launched.
No
And
kidding.
she was on, she did The Masked Singer. That took 3 years of going back and forth with her and the producers to get that all worked out. But because she wasn't sure if she wanted to do that show, and she
Mhm.
just had a blast doing it. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but she loved it and she won it, and it was a completely different audience from anybody who really knew much
Right.
about her.
Right.
And then
Right.
she got on that the Taylor Sheridan The Road show, which again showed another side of her, showed this kind of mentor side of her,
Mhm.
which was perfect. And now she's got um she'll probably do 50 to 60 dates this year, which is exactly what she wants to do.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, 22 years later, almost 23.
Well, you can tell her that you talked to somebody who's a huge fan.
Yeah.
And I from day one, man, the first time I heard her sing, I went, "Oh man,
Yeah.
that is,"
W
because she was so different than everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Everybody sounded like Faith Hill or Martina,
Yeah.
and
Which is great.
which is great. I
Yeah.
mean, I love them. But then this girl comes out and Miranda kind of at the same
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh man, this is real country.
Right.
This is," and now I think Lainey Wilson and,
Ella Langley. I
Ella
love Ella.
Langley, they're kinda carrying that torch now,
Yeah.
but I still think Gretchen's got a lot to say, and I hope we
Yeah.
get to hear it.
You know what? Last year I was with her at the ACM Awards, and there was the first time that both of us had seen this. Ella Kelsey Ballerini. Gosh, I shouldn't have started naming names, but there were a bunch of new females that were coming up to her backstage, and they were just bowing down,
I'm
saying
not
thank you.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
All of them do Here for the Party in their sets,
Yeah.
and
Well, she kicked the door open for
she did.
all
She
these
busted the
people,
door open.
man.
Yeah.
She kicked that door open for
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I don't think I hope she puts out 5 more records, and I'd like to have one of her songs, one song on there with her. Just I want to sit in a room with her and write a song with her.
Yeah.
No, but my point is it's just so cool to me, and I think that's why I love country music. It's not they don't cast out, like, okay, you had your hit, now go away.
Yeah.
They tend to kind of once you're in the family, you're in the family, and I love that about country music.
I think Mark, I think the fans are the same way. I think the fans,
Agreed.
the country fans, are more apt to connect to you and then
Agreed.
follow you and stay with you for a long time.
Hey, this is Craig with Songwriter's Tales. Hey, make sure you check out episode number 8 with William Kitchens. He's a songwriter, a musician, and a podcaster who lives in Nashville. You don't want to miss his episode.